What we're going to be doing this afternoon is working with each other, because in order to do dementia care, you don't do it solo. You do it with somebody. My goal before you walk out of here is you'll have some new ways of looking at what's going on. And because you have new ways of looking at what's going on, you'll also have a new appreciation for why what happens happens. And so once you know that, then you can back up and decide to change something. Because when you're working with somebody with dementia, you're the one who has to decide to change something. So we're going to start off how it starts off. Decide, you and a partner. You need to partner up, and you need to be next to somebody that you're going to partner with. So go ahead and get your partner, and I want you to put your hands together so I can see the partnerships. Put your hands together. Oh, look. You're the one who decided you wanted to be with me anyway. Come on up. Okay. Yes. Okay. Here we go. All right. Now, what I want you to do is decide between the two of you which of you have dementia. There you go. You're right. And here's what I hope. I hope you enjoyed that moment. I hope you enjoyed the moment where you got to pick if you got dementia. Because here's the reality. You don't get to pick. And you don't get to choose who does and who doesn't. Because if we could choose, we'd probably pick people who were more easygoing, less assertive, less interested in being the person they've always been. We could select for dementia, and we'd pick the easygoing people. That's not how it works. You get who you get. So what I'm going to do is my partner, tell me your first name.
Suzanne.
Suzanne. Okay, Suzanne is my partner, and she has dementia. So whoever has dementia, you just sit there. Because you just have dementia. You don't even know many times you have dementia. You think you're fine. You don't even realize there's anything going on. Or if you do, you notice that things are a little bit different, but not as much as everybody seems to think. I mean, you're okay. I mean, you make a few mistakes, but it's those damn teenagers next door that are the problem. You're okay. I will also swear a little bit because you need to get over that. We're going to talk about some of the behaviors you've got to get over, and one of them is reacting to my words. We're going to do that. But we'll start off here. My friend Suzanne has dementia, but she doesn't seem to notice as much as I notice. Caregiver, raise your hand. Everybody who's a caregiver now, if you're the partner and you're the caregiver, raise your hand. Take your hand now and look at it. Don't put it away, because here's what happens. Caregivers see themselves, and you see your hand as a loving, caring hand. You see your hand as a helping hand. You see this hand as what will make a difference to the person with dementia, and you're going to offer some help. I know how you are. You're going to help. So I want you to take your helping hand, caregivers, and shove it right in the face of the person with dementia. Now go ahead. I want you to do it. It's important that you actually do it. Now what I want you to notice is the person with dementia seems sort of surprised that the help was coming at them, because they were not thinking that they were going to get this kind of help. Now you saw yourself as, quote unquote, and I use this word very meaningfully, offering help, but you didn't. You shoved your help at them. You noticed they had problems, and so here's the kind of things you do. Well, you need some help with your medicine. You need help taking a shower. You need help. You are not safe getting up out of that chair without help. You need help changing your shoes. You need help. You need help. You need help. We think about our role as giving help. We're caregivers. Okay? So give your care to somebody. Now, the person with dementia, the reaction to that is not as strong and positive as you would like. They seem not to be real fond of having a hand shoved in their face. Many of them react to that. Now, a reaction is an automatic thing. You don't think about it, it just happens. So start over, and just out of the blue, shove your hand, and notice the person might flinch, pull back. The person might bring their hand up to grab your wrist a little bit. The person might go, oh! Fight, flight, fright. Fight, flight, fright. Fight. They might swear at you or hit you. Fright. They pull back and they don't do anything in that moment because they're sort of like deer in the headlights. There's this panic moment like, oh God, what's going on here? And then there's fright where they're trying to get away from you. Okay? So take your hand and shove it at them. Person with dementia, take your hand and put your hand against theirs. Because what you're going to want to do is get them away from your face, don't you? I mean, that's what your goal is. Now, I want you to notice something. Go ahead and put your hands together. Caregiver, as soon as you felt them push on your hand, what did you do? Push harder. Yes, indeed, you did. Because you know you're right, they need help. Okay, so now don't stop, because it never stops at this point. So they push back and you push harder, and they push back and you push harder, and pretty soon you're giving it everything you've got. Let me ask you something. Honestly, where are you going? Absolutely nowhere. And here's the hard part. If you don't like what's going on, you're going to have to change, because the person with dementia simply is reacting to you. You think it's them. Yes, it's them. It's actually the dementia in them that is causing this. And you're having a really hard time letting go of the idea that they know better, they can do better, that they're just being stubborn, they're being ornery, they're being mean. And what you didn't realize is you started this. You started it when you decided you needed to give care. Because you did not offer care, you gave care. You shoved it in their face. You told them, that's not what, you're dirty, you're filthy, you've had that same shirt on. Your daughter says you need, look at this, oh my Lord, you're wet. Here, let me. Let me have you do something. Person with dementia, close your eyes for a second. Caregiver. Oh, jeez. You look at me. The people with dementia, keep your eyes closed. Caregivers, you notice they have stuff like here, and it's like, yikes. Ugh. It's dried. So what I want you to do, you ready? Here we go. Now, before they were playing around. Now they're not playing around. Now we got them riled up. And what I want you to realize is truly the person that you just did that to, their emotional state is different than it was a few seconds ago. And they don't have dementia. But what they are able to do is pull back. They're able to hold back. They take the reins of your emotions, take those reins, grab hold of them, and pull back. They're able to do that because they have an intact brain. Dementia is brain failure. It's not memory problems. And so what happens when you lose those reins, what you want to do, go ahead and close your eyes. Now, I also want you to notice how now all of a sudden this isn't so fun anymore. She's ready to go sit down. She's had enough of this, and we just started. Okay, you ready? Now this time she thinks she knows what's going to happen, right? So watch me this time. Y'all close your eyes if you're the demented person. And notice how your anxiety is a little higher than it was before. Okay, so now caregiver, this time we're going to do something different. But what I want you to do, okay? So I want you to mumble at them, but I don't want them to be able to understand what you're saying. Okay, so you're saying something, but they can't figure out what it is. But I want you to be very clear that you have it, you've got it, and you go down in your bed, okay? And now laugh at the end. Okay, make sure it's sort of scary laugh. Okay, you ready? And now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Go ahead. Okay, now, how many of them this time jerked a little bit more? And now we're going to do one more thing, because I want you to realize each time we do this, the anxiety is getting higher and higher, and you guys are getting more nervous about what's coming next. What is she going to do next? I mean, I'm not liking any of this. And what I want to tell you is when people have dementia, they don't remember the facts, but they can remember exactly the feelings. And so they don't know what it was you did, but they know they didn't like it. And so the next time they see somebody who looks like you and sounds like you, even if it's not you, they're set up for the distress. And it happens quicker, and it happens faster, and it happens with fewer cues, because their brain remembers the feeling of not liking this. And as soon as they see you come in with that yellow thing around your neck, that starts, no, you go on now, you get out of here. This is not, no, I don't want any of it. Yeah, I'm fine, go on, get out, no. Thinking, I didn't do anything. But somebody did. So with my person, close your eyes. Okay, now she's still being ha, but now each time it's a little bit worse. Here's what we're going to do this time. Okay, now you ready? Watch me this time. Try it. Go with your partner. would have made you the most nervous of all. And yet, what it felt like after those other episodes, it got really scary because you didn't know for sure what they were going to do, and you started jerking that foot back. What would have happened if you'd been standing and not as skilled as my young friend here? She would have fallen, and if I tried to catch her, who's going to get hurt? Both of us. Both of us. And the problem was, who started this? I did. Who will get filled out on the incident report as having a problem? She will. She's aggressive. She's resistive to care. She's difficult to care for. She needs medication. And what I'm going to tell you is she doesn't need medication. I need training. She doesn't need medication. I need to know what I'm doing. We need to quit blaming people with dementia for what happens when what happens is they have dementia and we don't know quite how to care for them. We need to quit blaming them for having a disease. We would never do that with any other health condition. If somebody has congestive heart failure, you don't walk up to them and say, you need to breathe better. You were breathing better than this the other day. Are you being ornery and stubborn or what? You need to get your heart and your lungs coordinated. This is ridiculous. I mean, would you expect their heart and their lungs to work better simply because you walk up and fuss at them? No. How about somebody who's in kidney failure? They're so far in kidney failure that they're on dialysis. Would you ever go up to them and say, lean forward just a second. Go kidneys! Now listen to me. Listen to me. I want you to pee better. No, listen to me. You have peed better than you are peeing right now. I am telling you that you are not producing enough urine. You need to get the nephrons in your kidneys to process. You're being lazy, and I am not going to tolerate it. You have got to pee. Don't shake your head, pee. Now, I mean, is there a point to this? And everybody in this room goes, well, that's stupid. It won't help. That's right. But here's what happens when somebody has dementia. She's sitting in a chair. She's supposed to use a walker. But she left the walker somewhere. And so she starts to get up. Whoa, 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 whoa. Where's your walker? Do you want to fall? Do you want to fall? Where'd you leave your walker? You've got to have your walker. Listen to me.
I'm taking my hearing aid.
Which of us has dementia? Okay. And here's my other least favorite. Who am I? Do you know me? I'm your aide. Oh, that'll make her happy. If she doesn't know, let's play Jeopardy. Okay? So what this afternoon's going to be all about is helping you change you. And here's how we're going to start. So my friend Suzanne's going to, Suzanne, right?
Yes.
Go stand up over here. And instead of doing this, we did it. Uh-oh, we made a mistake. Go ahead and get that way, because that's what's going to happen. You put your hand out and they push back. Here's what I want you to do. As soon as they make contact, ease off. Do not push back at all. Do not push back. Try it. Watch what happens as soon as they touch your hand. If they touch your hand, just ease off. Take the pressure off. What happens to them pushing into your hand? It quits. Why? Because there's no pushback. There's no resistance. When you resist resistance, all you do is increase the resistance. When you try to get somebody to do something and they don't do it and you push harder, all you're doing is make them resist what you're trying to do even more. And if it starts off, how many of you think if you didn't want to take medications with somebody that you're going to want to get naked? No, you're not doing it, are you? I can tell, and you're easygoing, and you're not doing it. So what we need to recognize is when they resist something, what we have to recognize, uh-oh, I made a mistake. We need to say uh-oh. Say uh-oh. Uh-oh, uh-oh. There's nothing wrong with an uh-oh if it becomes an aha. Uh-oh leads to aha. When you have a moment and you recognize this is not working, you have got to be the one with the big brain. You have got to be the one that recognizes this isn't working. This isn't going where I wanted it to. And you have to immediately, you must immediately ease off. You've got to take the pressure off. And then what you have to do is get this task that you were trying to get done, whether it's shower, whether it's changing clothes, whether it's wiping their face, wiping their butt, whatever it was, whatever task, engaging them, trying to get them out of a chair, sitting down, moving, whatever, getting out of the car, whatever it was, you've got to take it off the table, move it out of the way. Because what you need to realize, it's not about getting things done, it's about the relationship you have with this person. When somebody has dementia, it's all about the relationship. It is not about the task being done. You've got to quit being task-focused. And I know you're short on time. Trust me, I do this work. But I will tell you, you don't get things done fast when you do this. What it does is make it harder. Not just for you, but for the next person, and the next person, and the next person. Because once they learn they don't like this, they go into the situation ready for bear. No, 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 no. And as soon as I see that bathroom, it starts. The washroom, excuse me, whatever y'all call it. Where you take my clothes off and try to strip me naked and try to touch me inappropriately. I'll tell you who's sexually inappropriate, and it's not me. You people putting your hands on my private parts, that's not reasonable. Smart ass. So here we go. We're here. We ease off. We move it out of the way, and we recognize this person. And now what we say to them, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I was trying to help. Try that with your partner. Sound like you mean it, too. And you better sound like you mean it or it won't work. Now, as soon as they said that and they sounded sincere, did you notice how the emotional thing dropped down a little bit? Yeah. You need to be willing to say to the person, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I was trying to help. They need to hear that you screwed up. They need to hear that you're the one that made the mistake. Even though what you were doing, you were just trying to help. I understand that. But in their mind, you had no business doing what you were doing. They didn't understand what you were doing. You need to back up a little bit. And the reason I'm sorry is going to help is it's a familiar social behavior, and that's retained. They will retain the ability to remember the idea of I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And especially if you look sorry while you say I'm sorry. And you say, I was trying to help, and all of a sudden, the emotion drops. And they may say, well, you're not very helpful. You're right, I wasn't. And I apologize. I had no business acting like that. You need to be willing to be wrong. And you need to say it out loud. Because people with dementia are not good at interpreting what you mean when you don't say what you mean. And you need to get your visuals a little bigger. We're going to talk about all this stuff. But you need to be thinking about how you look to them, how you sound to them. And you need to sound and look a little sorry. Now that you've done that, I'm going to give you a couple other phrases you may need to use. I'm sorry I made you angry. Try that one. I'm sorry I made you angry. I'm sorry I embarrassed you. I'm sorry I frustrated you. And here's my absolute favorite. I use this one a whole lot. I'm sorry. This is hard. Because what I'm admitting is this is difficult. It's difficult for me, but I also am acknowledging it's difficult for you. And what I'm trying to get you to see is this is not about caregiving. As long as you keep in your mind that you're a caregiver, you're going to lose. What you want to become is a care partner. You need to work with the person, not push into the person. And so now, once we've done that, we need to change our whole behavior when we offer help. We need to quit coming in there like great guns. And you need to come in, and the first thing you need to do is offer. And here's how you start the offer. Hey. Now, doesn't that feel different? Try that and see what happens. Well, hey. Now, look, they actually agreed to shake your hand. There was no force involved. There was no intrusion. It was a real friendly kind of thing. Automatic social behavior. Preserved. Preserved. So what you want to do, hi. We came in and we did this, shook hands. Now, here's what I want to show you. You don't want to let it go, this handhold. But you can't stay like this because they're not going to tolerate that. Or late in the disease, they'll squeeze the crap out of you. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. But the reality is they're either going to love it or they're not going to want it. So what we're going to do is we're going to shake. And rather than let go, because we do want to be near them and we do want to touch them, this is a friendly, familiar touch. You can't stay there. It's not normal. So what we're going to do is slide around. Now, to help you figure this out, if you were to move your fingers, we have a butterfly. If you don't have a butterfly, you are not doing the right thing. If you're down here somewhere doing weird crap, that is not what I asked you to do. You've got to shake, slide, and you've got to hold like this. Now bring your fingers down onto the palm, on the base of the thumb, and let them hold onto the base of your thumb. And now what you're going to do is you're going to turn it so they're on top. And the reason you're going to turn it so they're on top, I'll actually tell you, is when the disease moves further and further along, this motion of muscles is the natural movement of muscles in late-stage dementia. The arm is going to curl in like this. The body is going to curl like this. And you go and put it down, and you go down, and you put it down, okay? Because these are the muscles that are strongest. All the muscles turn on near the late stages of dementia because when your motor strip dies, it leaves all the muscles turned on. But the ones that are strongest are your flexors and your adductors and your pronators of your forearm. And that's why their arms are going to turn in like this. And if you try to turn their arm out like this, it's going to be very uncomfortable in their shoulder girdle and in their forearm. You don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is let them stay here. So it's called, this position is called hand under hand. My hand is under their hand. Now this is a really critical handhold, and I want you to get real used to it because it does several things. Number one, it connects us. But the second thing it does is protect each of us. We are protected when we have this handhold. Because if she wants to do something, the first thing she's going to do is let go of me and warn me that she doesn't want me here. If I don't have her hand and I'm doing something she doesn't like, what's the very first thing she's going to do?
I'm going to hit you.
She is going to grab or try to hit me because she sees me as intrusive. If I have her hand, then the first thing that when she doesn't like what I'm doing, she will do is give a little push away, and I can say, Suzanne, it's okay, okay? Yeah? Not so much. All right. You want me to go? Can we talk? Okay. Now, notice what I'm doing. I am to the side of her, not in front of her. This is really critical. We're going to come back to it. You never want to block somebody in because you tell them there's no way out except through me. And you do not want them going through you. And you don't want them trying to get away from you either because that increases the risk for them and for you. Because when they try to get away from you, Suzanne was working with me and she stood in front of me and she came at me. No, you're normal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Be the person who's the caregiver and I'm demented now.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Oh, no.
Okay, so what just happened? I fell. Why did I fall? Because she moved toward me and it scared me and I backed off. And I didn't have the balance to walk backwards. Because that skill will leave long before this skill leaves. So I'm up and walking, but I can't go backwards. Because that's an advanced skill. And so I'm going to lose my balance. And what's she going to do when she sees me start to lose my balance? Because I do it in slow motion. She's going to try to keep me from losing my balance. So now what's going to happen? We're both going down. Yeah, and if she tries to catch her balance, she might actually break her wrist, hurt her arm, twist, turn. She tries to take my weight. This is where accidents happen. And they happen because you startle me, I fall back, and you try to help. Bad idea. You never want to be opposite me. This is making noise. Is that annoying you guys who are filming? Probably. Well, I'm not doing it. All right. So here we go. We're in this position. I want you to do something with the person's hand. Go ahead and get in this position. This is called what? What's it called? Hand under hand. Now go back to this position. Go back to a normal handshake. Person with dementia starts squeezing a little bit. They squeeze you and it starts hurting. What are caregivers going to do? Grab them about the wrist to try to get them loose. As you do this, you're telling their brain it's a fight. So then this other hand comes over and no, I need you to let go. Ow, God, you're hurting me. Stop. Now we get in this mode. Now she starts.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay? We need medication. Who started this? I did, because I should have recognized if I give her my hand and it stays there, she's going to want to squeeze it, because late in the disease, people are very tactile. They seek out touch. You can watch them. They're all over. Yeah, you gotta have that. And you gotta, and oh, look at me, you gotta have, yeah, ooh, nice movie, I like that. Yeah, oh yeah, you gotta, pity, head baby, oh, look at that, yeah, oh, I got it. Now, notice, automatic, huh, on your part, wasn't it? Yeah, when it went toward my mouth, what was your behavior? You were trying to pull away from me, which just made me want it more. And so then the other hand came up, because you were going to try to push my head back, weren't you? She was trying to what? Protect herself. But what she didn't realize is everything she did stirred me on, and it's going to make it worse. And that's just our automatic behavior. Here's what I'm telling you. You can't have an automatic reaction when you're a caregiver. You've got to be responsive, not reactive. You've got to learn how to respond. You've got to use your brain, because I can't use mine. You have to get really, really good at paying attention to what's going on and make decisions out in front, so that you don't get to the point where you're going, eek. We don't want eek, because when you start going eek, you're going to flight, fight, or fright. I don't care who you are, I don't care how you are. When we get that desperate, we start doing automatic, autonomic things. And that is not a good thing for you or the person with dementia, because they don't know when to stop. So you want some tools now, don't you? Yeah, here's what it's called: substitution, not subtraction. You want to substitute. You want to give them something else to take, to do, other than what they're doing, because you don't want to try to take something away. If you try to take something away, you get a reaction. So here's what's going to happen. When I start towards you, you want to offer your hand to me rather than let me come all the way up on top of you. You need to give me things to mess with. So when I... Now notice how she's looking for stuff. Now what she's done is, now she's got a thing in her hand which is going to make it hard for her. What she's going to want to do instead, don't grab stuff, go, Teepa, hey, you want to make yourself the thing I go for, but you want to control what you do. So remember this hand thing? When you get in this position, you're at risk. But if you immediately slide up around, let the person squeeze you as hard as they can. Nail me, just as hard as you can. Nail harder. Now you'll notice the blood is collecting in my thumb, because she's squeezing all around my thumb. Notice how you can tell she's squeezing really hard. See the white joints? But here's the thing, because it's just simply one structure, not four, and she's not squishing them together, she's not hurting me. Late in the disease, if somebody tends to use their nails, okay, because their hand is doing what? Closing up. We need to acknowledge that. Put on a glove and do up a washcloth, fold it up into fourths and stick it right in there. So guess what? They get what they need, and you're safe. Because if you have a washcloth all folded up under your glove, when she digs in, what's she digging into? The washcloth. She's getting her touch needs met, but she's not hurting me. And so I am able to let her hold on to me and do what needs to be done, rather than trying to, no, don't do that. And we start this. Now, why don't you want to be grabbing people's forearms? Let me tell you. The first place old people lose fat on their body is under the skin, on the back of their hand and up their forearm, on the top of their feet and up their shins, and on the top of their head and on their backs. They lose their fat pads. Now, let's look around. Who in here is in their 20s?
Okay.
Liar. Liar. Here's one. All right, take a look at the back of this hand, and there's probably some other ones around here. We got some other young ones in this group. What I want you to do is look at the back of her hand. Think of a toddler. A toddler has so much fat pad on the back of their hand, they don't have knuckles, they have dimples. And they're real juicy. She's still juicy. I'm not. Okay, so let's take a look. Look at the back of my hand versus the back of her hand. What can you see in the back of my hand that she can't? Veins, tendons. Look what happens. Look what happens to the back of my hand. You can lift the skin up. I have got so much loose skin. Well, I have loose skin because I've lost all my fat pad under. And it's not just my hand. It's getting saggy. By the time you're in your 80s, you have almost no fat at all. Your skin is very thin, very fragile. Now, fat does two things. It pads and it insulates. Padding and insulation. So you've lost your padding and your insulation. So what happens when, by accident, quote unquote, I grab her by the forearm to keep her from hurting me? She'll have 4 fingertip bruises and a thumb bruise. And if she pulls away from me, I can actually peel some of her skin off. Okay? If she kicks out at me, she's going to get all bruised up and actually maybe have skin tears on the front of her shins. When that happens, she becomes really upset, and now she's fighting for her life. This is where we get ourselves in trouble. Now, this all started because I let her hold on to me, or she took hold of me because she didn't understand what I was doing. Do you see how automatic she was on that? And what I want to do is not get into that mode. So what I'm going to do is offer, turn, hold. Because now I don't need to do that. And if I need to walk somewhere with her and she's a touch or feeler, what I'm able to do, slide my other hand underneath, do hand under hand over here, and I actually have full control, because your arm is the rudder that guides the ship. And so what I'm doing is, she thinks she's the boss, but actually I am. And if I add a little rhythm, do 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 do. Now, why am I singing? Because music and rhythm is something they retain. They will retain the ability to sing and have rhythm. They can dance better than they can walk, because that's a part of the brain that's preserved. So we need to talk about what's gone and what's left. But what's great about this is this feels okay, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Here's the other thing about this hand thing. Go back with your partner and get their hand. We're just going to do the one hand right now. Hold their hand. Now, person with dementia, I want you to glance away. Just look at, glance away, notice something else in the room. Caregiver, take the hand you are not using, lay it gently on the back of their hand, creating an artificial warmth and padding. Did you hear what I just said? Artificial warmth and padding, because the palm of your hand has padding and warmth in it. And what you're doing is substituting for what they're missing, and it actually feels pretty good. It's called a comfort sandwich. Feels pretty good. Feels fairly comfortable. Here's the other thing I'm going to tell you about this hand hold. When you put pressure in a human being's palm, it calms a human being down. It's called proprioceptive input. Proprioception, slow, deep pressure, causes a person to calm. Simply doing this will calm somebody. Yeah. Now, if I gently pump at a slow rhythm, just a gentle pump, there are a couple things that happen. When you gently pump, it causes the person to look at you. It's really neat. The reason that works, the oldest sensory motor tract in the human being, sensation and then movement. Sensation and movement is eye-hand. Eye-hand. Now I want you to think about babies. You lie a baby on its back and you put the dangly crap down when they're real little. And they're laying there and they're sort of doing their crazy stuff, learning to move their bodies, and all of a sudden their hand whacks one of the rings. And then they go spastic because they suddenly realize, oh my Lord, I control everything. And then they learn how to grab hold of it. And the next thing they're going to do is hand, eye, mouth. Hand, eye, mouth. And the reason they go toward the mouth is the most sensitive part of the human body. And what they're learning is about the object. They put it in their mouth because that's where you have the most sensory end organs. And so as you explore it with your mouth, you learn about it. And then you get a little older and you don't have to put it in your mouth. You can put it out here and pay attention to it, and you'll be able to manipulate it and handle it and figure out what to do with it. It's kind of cool. As the brain dies, it dies in the opposite way it was developed. And so the last skill that we'll lose is eye-hand. And what I'm doing is I'm getting their eye to come to me by touching the hand. And by using the hand, I get her to look, and now I can give her information. If she's not looking at me, I'm relying on verbal communication, which we all know deteriorates. We'll talk more about how it deteriorates. But what I want you to realize, this hand position is wonderfully important when it comes to being this close to somebody. Because she's safe and I'm safe. She feels pretty comfortable with me being here. If I take the handhold away and I stand here, this gets really uncomfortable very quickly. And the reason that happens, get 5 fingers out. And you can sit down for a little bit, Suzanne, I'll be back. Get your 5 fingers out. Here's what I want you to realize about human beings. Human beings have 5 ways that they get information in from the world around them. They have 5 senses that they use, 5 critical ways that they get information into the system. With dementia, all 5 of these are compromised. But I want you to realize what they are, what we start with. Start with your thumbs up. What you see. Visual information, critically important to understanding the world around you. So thumbs up is visual. Visual. Then get your index finger out. What you hear, auditory information incoming. Ring-a-ling-a-ling, ring-a-ling-a-ling. Suzanne. Now, our given name is incredibly powerful because it's something that identifies us as somewhat unique and special. So when we use somebody's name, I want you to use it in 2 different ways, though. I want you to use it as a gift, and then I want you to use it like your mother used it. Now, when I did this, what automatically came to mind? Being scolded. You can use your voice, you can use a name like a weapon. Suzanne, Try that with your partner. Say their name and go, no. Suzanne, Suzanne, Suzanne. Shout their name several times. Suzanne, 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 Suzanne. How many of you want to tell the person, shut up? If you had dementia, you would. Not only would you tell them to shut up, you'd go, get out, get out, get out, or you might go over and, or you might not. You might. What am I saying to you? Leave it alone. Back off. Leave me be. What's happening is something has happened here, and I'm trying to give you information back. What you picked up on was not just the word I was saying, but the tone of voice I was using and the visuals. It's a two-way street. Realize these signals that we give back and forth, really important when you're a caregiver. You not only want to know what you're doing, what do you have to really pick up on? What they're giving you back. It's a two-way system. What goes in comes out. What comes out needs to be absorbed by you and understood. Because you have to use these cue systems too. You need to pick up on this stuff. Third way that we communicate and get information in and out. This middle finger, touch down on the back of your other hand and move it around a little bit. Now I want you to know that this is one finger, but it has two functions. It has touch, but it also has movement. Movement and touch, movement and touch, sensation in and movement. You learn things about the world both by what you feel on your skin, but also what you do with your body. So I can tell with touch what something's temperature is, how heavy it might be, whether it's sharp, whether it's dull, what its texture is. But I can also tell where gravity is. And because I'm pretty skilled, what can happen with me is if I were carrying a cup of water across the room and I noticed something on the floor needed to be picked up, I can bend over, pick it up, and automatically keep the water upright against gravity without even thinking about it. Because I have done this so many years that my body just knows how to do that. By late in dementia, oh shit. And now I try to clean it up. And now I try to, because I don't have the skill to recognize water on the floor, uh-oh, dangerous, dangerous, and I just walk across it. And I fall, and you're with me, so you go down too. Now, your automatic behavior when I start to do this is what? You try to stop me. What did I tell you about stopping people? Substitution, not subtraction. And what's the best way to substitute? As I'm starting to do this, you could say, Teepa, hey. You need to sound like you want to be with me, not like I've done something wrong. You don't want me acting in response to you in a negative way. What you want me to do is stop doing what I'm doing because you're so interesting that I want to come and look at you instead. And then you can approach me with your hand out, and I will put my hand out, and suddenly what happened to the stuff on the floor? It doesn't matter, because what you've been able to do is redirect my attention to you. You can become the thing that keeps me safe, or you can become the thing that causes me to fall. It's up to you. I'm doing the best I can. Okay, so let's go back to our situation. You know what's good about water? It dries. I'm not real worried about WorkSafe. It's carpet. It's water. We were on number 3, weren't we? Let me tell you one more thing. How complicated is it to hold a spoon, put soup in it, and bring it to my mouth? Very complicated. So what's going to start happening is, as I try to do this, I can't organize the spoon and my hand, and so I start to spill stuff down the front of me. I'm not doing it because I'm not trying. I actually can't balance and coordinate. There are about 8 joints that have to keep in alignment with gravity for me to keep this spoon upright. And so what's going to end up happening is I'm going to make mistakes. And as that happens, one of the strategies I might develop is leaning way far over and holding the spoon like this, and then you try to straighten me up. And I think you're pulling me over backwards. And I'll turn around and pop the crap out of you because you scared me, because you tilted me off balance. And yet we'll fill out the incident report. Teepa became agitated and aggressive during mealtime. She needs medication. Let's go to the 4th sensation. Sense of smell. Sense of smell, sense of smell. Now, it is the one that actually goes directly into your brain. There's no stopping point there. It goes straight from smell to brain. So it, of all the sensations, I put it on your wedding ring finger, on the ring finger, because that's the strongest emotional sense that you have. That will give you an emotional reaction right away. Bing! Let me help you with that. Let me just give you words. I won't even give you smells. Fresh cut grass, cinnamon, lemon, stale urine, vomit, dog poop, babies, wrong end of the baby. Okay, so what happens is you hear those words, your brain immediately goes to a smell memory, lavender. You know, you have an emotional reaction to that. When people develop dementia, one of the things they lose in all of these senses, including the last one, which is sense of taste, that's your 5th, by the way, they lose awareness of the big environment first. In other words, safety awareness. They are not aware of safety issues. They don't pick up on the big world issues. They're only focused in here, in this kind of space. So what happens, let's go to these last two, because I want to point out the smell one, because the smell one is one we try to use a lot to help people understand they need help. Okay? Let's go over the 5 smells right off that they are not going to be as aware of as far as safety issues go. It's not that they can't smell them, it's that they don't realize they're dangerous. Number 1, smoke. So what happens is they're cooking and they forget something on the stove and it starts burning and the smoke alarm starts going off. And they're more interested in hiding the burnt pot than they are recognizing, oh my heavens, I almost burned the house down. They don't pick up on that. Okay, they don't get the smoke issues. If there were a little bit of an electrical wire smell in here, burning electrical wires in here, what would everybody in this room be going? You smell that? I'm smelling something. No, listen, I smell. Now, can you smell it? I mean, there's something. You won't be able to settle down and listen to me because your brain is going, something. That doesn't happen. They simply don't pick up on it. And so if you're in a place with someone and they start a fire in an attempt to stay warm because they've lost their fat pad and they're cold, they won't pick up on it. They're not going to know what they've done. Second smell that you don't pick up on as sort of risky, dangerous, chemicals and gas. So propane, the pilot goes out. I had a lady literally come to the door. The smell of propane was so strong when I opened the door, it was like, and she had matches. And she was getting ready to relight it. Her sister had been her primary brain, but the sister had the flu. They were both in their 80s. They'd been living alone together, and we'd been managing them okay. And then the sister got the flu who had a really bad arthritis, and she couldn't monitor. And the pilot went out, and the sister with dementia was fixing tea for her. And she almost blew the house up. And we had to place both of them because it was no longer safe for them to be there alone, and they had no family. They had no one. Okay? That also means that if you're going to wash clothes, if you put Clorox in a container where the clothes are, I can come and drink it. Can you drink Clorox? No. What will protect you? Your nose. As soon as you lift it up, you'd go, whoo, wow. They will also mix ammonia and Clorox in an attempt to clean. And every month, there's somebody across the North American continent who dies because they mix those two together and don't realize it, and they don't realize how much danger they're in. And if you're around, they will put you in danger because we haven't removed one or the other so that they can't combine them together without realizing it. And a lot of these women used to do what? Clean their houses. And so they're used to doing this stuff without thinking about it. And if one thing doesn't get it clean, they'll just add something else on. Okay? Third smell they do not pick up on. You need to really pay attention to this one, spoiled food. Spoiled food, they don't recognize spoiled food as spoiled. And so they'll go out and eat. You take them out to eat somewhere and they don't waste it. Oh no, we've got to bring it back home. There's a half a sandwich. We'll bring it back. We'll put it away. I'll put it away. It stays in their purse for 2 days. It stays in the microwave. They get it out. They put it in the microwave. They totally forget about it. They find it 2 days later. Tuna salad. Cool. You know what? I'll fix some for my healthcare worker too. Isn't that special? I'll give it to somebody else. And so what you thought maybe they got the flu, maybe they didn't get the flu. Maybe they're doing a little food poisoning. Here's the other thing. Don't try to clean their refrigerator with them present. Because what you're going to get is, that's green, just scrape that off. The rest is good. And if you try to go on and do what you think is the right thing with me being there, I won't let you. And what you're going to do is have a lot of conflict because you're trying to throw stuff away. There's nothing wrong with it. There is nothing wrong with that cottage cheese. Put it back in there. And when you won't, I'm going to hit you. Because it's my refrigerator and you're stupid and you don't understand what it is not to have money. You don't understand this. Put it back. You need to say, yes, ma'am, I'll put it back. I am so sorry. And then you need to arrange to clean the refrigerator when I'm not there. You need to get a lot smarter about realizing what you can do in front of me and what you don't need to do in front of me. You can't do that. These hoarder shows that you watch on TV, don't do that stuff. You are just causing distress. If they can't tolerate it, they can't tolerate it. You doing it in front of them is just going to cause them to need medication. There you go. I knew some of you'd get it. The fourth smell that they do not pick up on is a dangerous smell, body odor. How do we all know that we need to go ahead and do a wash-up before we go out? Quick sniff test. You do a sniff test, you sort of go, not too bad, or ooh, baby, okay, let me clean. You pick up on the body odor thing, and when you feel the body odor, you go, ooh, geez, I need to clean up. That's not going to happen. And what happens is family members will often use it as a weapon. Mom, you stink. I am not taking you out. You need to let her give you a shower. And so it starts. The family starts it, and you get caught because you're the one who's going to do what the family wants based on smell. And the person doesn't see it as an issue. We need to help families back off of this because the person doesn't pick up on it. It's not going to work. You can try that, and if you have a compliant, easygoing person, well, okay, whatever you say. How many people in this room turn to the person next to you and say, you stink? Oh, my God. Now, how many of you are feeling real good about the relationship right now? And how many of you are sort of embarrassed? Oh, jeez, I didn't know I smelled that. And so what happens is you get somebody, now when they said that, I want you to notice how many of you brought your legs together? How many of you have your arms down closer to your sides? What you did by saying something about it is you actually made it more difficult to do the task you want to do because what you got them doing is protecting the body parts they're ashamed of. And so now try to get the shirt off. It's not going to happen. And what you don't realize is you're the one that started this. You brought it up. You said you need to change your shirt. No, wait a minute. I just put this on. It's not going to work if that's what you're doing. So now, let's go to the last sensation, smell-wise, that they don't recognize as problematic. The last one they don't get, urine and feces. Urine. They do not smell urine and think it's a big problem. It's just not a big deal. So what happens? Well, they're starting to have little accidents because they misjudge the distance to the bathroom, the length of time they have, how quick their bladder's going to empty out. So what happens is they have a little accident. They strip off the wet things and hide them back in the clean clothes drawer. Because you're never going to put them in the dirty clothes because everybody will know you've had an accident. You put them in the closet. You hide them. You hide these things. 2 days later, you find them. They're dry. You put them on. A little stiff, but not bad. You're moving around. Of course, you caregivers notice. Stand up, Suzanne. Now you ready? Now wait a minute, what was that? Do this. Do it. Do it like this. This is when you touch without making a visual connection, a verbal connection, making sure they match. Out of nowhere, you do this. How many of you, if this comes out of a car window, want to go, yeah, come on over, let's talk? How many of you, if somebody sticks this out the car window, going, screw you too? I mean, you're already thinking, I didn't do anything, why are you looking at me like that? What happens when you see this signal? It's a bad sign. That's why I have you do this is touch, because when you touch without an awareness of the other person of what you're up to and that it's okay to touch, this is what you get. And you don't realize you're the one that started it. You put your hands on someone. They didn't know what you were about to do. They didn't approve of that. And we do things all the time. We have in our mind. Now, yeah. We need medications. She's so hard to work with. We've never said that, have we? We do. And what happens here is I'm noticing something she's not noticing. I need to quit focusing on the bad, and I need to work on the relationship first. I need to walk up to this person, and even if she reeks of urine, this is also where they have the cats and the dogs, the pets in the house, and they are not noticing. You walk in the house and it's like, and they will say, I just changed that litter box. And the brick is there. This is where, between the memory problems and the lack of awareness of how bad this is, it becomes a dangerous situation. They don't notice that. The amount of urine, ammonia in the air can actually be caustic to a point where it's a danger to a human being, them and you, and they don't notice it. They're not doing it on purpose. It's important that we recognize it, though, and do a timeout, because something's wrong here, and we need to acknowledge it's not by choice, it's the disease. So you can have a seat again. The last one, feces. This is late in the disease. Okay. Now, what we have thought is we actually use this term playing in their feces. There's no playing involved. What happened is I experienced a sensory experience that I couldn't quite figure out. Something was happening. So I decided to take my hand, which is one of my primary tools for understanding the world around me and that sense of touch, and I put it down here and I grabbed some of it to figure out what it is. I see it, and I see brown on my fingers. Now, brown on your fingers. First thought, chocolate. Absolutely. That is the most common thought in the world when you see brown on the fingers, chocolate. So my brain goes, okay, well, taste it and see what you think. So I do, I taste it. Well, it doesn't taste particularly like good chocolate. I don't know, not very good chocolate. So, but now, guess what's happening on my fingers? It's feeling nasty. I'm not liking it. It's getting dry and it's getting tacky and sticky. So now I'm trying to get it off. Now, where am I wiping it? Everywhere, because I'm trying to get it off. Now, this is where it's going to be up under things. It's going to be around things. It's going to be in and moving around things. I'm going to have it up. I'm going to really be touching everything. And I get most of it off, but usually around the cuticles, you'll see a little brown. Under the fingernails. The rails. The arms of the chair. It's there. Oh, the walls, down around the toilet paper holder. Those kind of places. You're going to find it lots of places. This is a heads up for you. You need to use the visual cues to realize in this moment, this sanitation issue is becoming a big deal. But you can't walk in, turn to your person and go, okay. Now I want you to approach your person going, go ahead, because you don't want to touch them. You know you don't. You have your gloves on. You still don't want to touch them. Now try that with your person. Hold them by the forearms like this. Now, how many people, as soon as they did that, you felt the urge to fight? Yeah. We need to recognize when this moment happens, we need to quit acting like the poop police. And we need to appreciate in that moment, boy, did they make a mistake. They made a mistake. They thought it was chocolate. Get over it. Get over it. Put your gloves on, put long sleeves on, and come in. Suzanne. Hey, how are ya? You're looking good. Oh, come on, let's go. Come with me. There we go. I've got gloves on. I've got it taken. You can even double glove if you want. But what you need to do is recognize I need to take control of this situation and I need to make it look and feel okay because she didn't do any of this to cause trouble. You can't walk into that room going, oh my God. They need to do something with her. Okay, because what happened here was a natural event because she couldn't comprehend what was happening to her. She's very late in the disease, but she still may be mobile. What I want to do now is help her get cleaned up. And we have several places to clean up. We can start with the part that's easier to manage out here, and then we've got to do the other part. But what we tend to have is we have people coming in, come help me, it's going to take two of us. Okay, come on. I'm going to hold her, and I want you to strip her pants off, okay? Come on, get out. No, don't. That's it. Come on. We can do. Now watch. God, you're not very good at this. Now, given this scenario, who all is likely to get hurt here? All of us. And what we don't realize is who's precipitating all this trauma? We are. And we're acting as though it's not our fault. But in fact, we're the ones with the big brain. We've got to choose something different. Okay? We've got to make some choices. So now let's go back to this hand position. You remember this way back there when we were back at the beginning, before we talked about the 5 senses? Go back to this hand position again. Get in this hand position. Now what I want you to realize is when you do a little pump in the hand, you draw the eye. When you draw the eye, you can deliver a cue. When you deliver a cue, you now have somebody better understanding what you're trying to do. Okay, now let's go back before you did the hand thing. And I want you to notice they have crumbs all down on the front of their shirt. Here's the problem they're having. With vision, you lose your awareness of the big world. Just like in smell, you lose your safety awareness. Here's the vision you lose first. Take your eyes and look straight ahead. Find something to look at, and you can probably find the screen there and look at that. Take your hands high and low. Look straight ahead and wiggle your fingers high and low. Young people in the group who got enough sleep last night, who are not trying to multitask, aren't on drugs or alcohol, and are moderately with it, can probably see their fingers wiggling high and low even though they're looking straight ahead. The older people in the group cannot. You're going to have to bring your fingers in a little bit to find them. Okay? And it's not just high and low, it's a great big circle. Okay? This great big circle is called your visual field. This is how much of the world you can pay attention to at a time. But you have two kinds of vision in this visual field. The center field, which is where you have color identification, object identification, the ability to read, the ability to show where one thing is versus another thing. This is your ability to actually discriminate and know what's going on. Facial recognition, everything you do in the center field. It's really important. This is where all the good stuff is. The edges of your vision, known as the peripheral field, the edge, that's where all you're doing is noticing changes in light, movement, shadow, something that causes you to shift your field of vision. It protects you because it tells you incoming, something you should pay attention to, look and see, and you go look and see, oh, it's okay, never mind. And so what it does is it tells you something might be out there of notice. When you develop normal aging behaviors, what's going to happen is your brain slows down. Normal aging, no dementia. When you are in your 20s, you can literally, if you have enough sleep and you're not worn out, you can look straight ahead and see your fingers wiggling out the edge of your vision. High, low, all the way around. Normal aging. By the time you are 75, it is very normal to have a field of vision that is approximately 45 degrees off center. So in other words, you're like the corner of a box. Make a circle that's about 45 degrees, like this. Should look about like this. This is how much of the world you can see at a time. Now, somewhere between 20 and 75, this has gradually gotten littler and littler and littler. Somewhere in your 50s, you can have a seat for a second, I'll be back. Somewhere in your 50s, you started to notice it because you were walking with a friend on a sidewalk, on a sort of uneven sidewalk, and oh, jeez, you almost tripped. But when you were in your 50s, you still had the reaction time to catch your balance. But you started to notice, whoa, I've got to pay a little closer attention to what I'm doing here. You're also noticing when you get things out of the trunk of the car, crap. You cracked your head, or under a table, you come up from under a table and you carry a bag of a container of laundry and you almost catch your toe on the first step. And you catch. You're able to catch because your reaction time is still good enough. So if you learn in your 50s to be more careful, you're starting to notice that when you walk or you run or you do anything, you're actually paying attention to right down there. Okay? You're watching what you're doing. You have to be a little more careful. If you don't figure it out in your 50s, you'll find it out in your 70s. Only what you're going to do is have wrist fractures. You're going to tear your shoulder out. You're going to ruin your elbow. You're going to hurt your knees. You're going to tear up your shins because your reaction speed is so slow. You don't preserve the upright. You go down. You fall. When you get dementia, it's worse. Okay? Put your hand to the back of your brain. This is where it's at. It's called the occipital lobe. This is where you process everything you see. Take your hands at 45. This was normal aging. Okay, this was normal. By the time most people get diagnosed with dementia, they are not in early stage, by the way. They're in mid stage by the time we all notice it. Bring your hands in so they're approximately 12 inches apart and make a circle. This is the visual world of somebody in mid-stage dementia. This is all their brain can pay attention to at a time. So here's what I want you to do. Put on binoculars. It's called binocular vision. This is how much of the world I can look at a time. So what I want you to do, look down and tell me if you have crumbs on your shirt. Look down. Well, shit, you can't see. Who notices the crumbs on your shirt? Somebody else. Now, take your vision, and when you're taking your break, when you go out for your break, I want you to sit at a table with some other folks, and I want you to notice you will not be able to see your own food at the edge of the table. You will notice their food. So you will take their utensils, you will take their drinks, you will try to eat their food because you don't see your own food. You'll see their food. Because you're losing all your task area. Put your binoculars on. People with dementia, caregivers, don't put your binoculars on. Okay, so my person with dementia, I'm going to be her caregiver. I'm going to come in and I'm going to grin at her. So I want you to lean in, caregivers. Hey. Now, how many people with dementia are going, oh yes, come closer? How many of you are going, oh my God? You do not look as good as you think you do. Okay? Because when you have binocular vision, when somebody gets in front of you, there is nothing but them. And this is what gets you in trouble with your males. Yeah, and he gets all excited because it's Christmas. We lean in and we say, let's get your clothes off and get you in the bed. And he goes, oh, yeah, let's. Okay? And what ends up happening is we call them sexually inappropriate behaviors. And what I've got to tell you, with binoculars, it was pretty appropriate. You lean yourself in there and you said something like, get clothes off and get in bed. It sounded like a good idea. And I was doing what with you? Taking your clothes off, and you're thinking, okay, well, let's go for it then. And then you get freaked out, and of course, when he grabs for me, I grab him, and then we end up in a fight. Yeah, and we think it's about them being inappropriate, and what I've got to tell you, it's a combination of memory impairment, getting lost in their life, visual impairment, and me touching him. I'm in here. And he's like, he's either going to go, yeah, or whoa, 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 I'm married. Okay, and then if I go for his pants. Yeah. See, and what we're doing is we're giving information. We're giving visual cues and touch cues and even auditory cues. I gave verbal cues that said, yeah, let's have sex. Now, that's not what I thought I was saying. I thought I was saying, you know, I'm going to help you get in the bed. But in the bed? Okay. And I'm standing here, and where his, especially if he has a little kyphosis, a little neck problem, where his shoulders are rolled forward. Okay? Now, when you get up in a second, which we're getting real close here to having break time pretty soon. Y'all need to get up in a minute anyhow. I want you to walk around with your binoculars on. Okay? Because what I want you to realize, watch me, when I have binoculars, if I've had some skill at knowing I have to be careful where I walk, what I start to do is roll my shoulders forward. And I start to take shorter steps because I don't want to be stepping out not knowing where I'm going. And so what I'm doing is this. Now let's add the walker. I put it in front of me so I can see where I'm going. And what do y'all keep trying to do? Shove me up in the walker. And so you'll stand me up, say, stand tall, Teepa. Okay. And the research that's being done on falls is telling us all the techniques we use to reduce fall risk and reduce fall-related injury work with every population except people with dementia. Why is that? Because they're learning to live their lives with sensory impairment that we don't understand, okay? So if I'm walking like this and my friend Suzanne decides she's going to help me, now, she gets hit. And of course, she says it came out of nowhere. What I'm going to say is she came out of nowhere. What we need to realize is when somebody has binocular vision, the only place they can see is wherever they're looking. So if I'm looking here and she comes, well, hey, baby. Hey, hey. Now, she's doing a good job of this, but what she may want to do is this. Now, why does she want to do this? Because she doesn't just want me to see her, she wants me to connect to her. Because she wants me to come and be with her. Because if she can get me with her, now she has this. And as she walks alongside me, she can actually get me to go where she wants. And if she holds my hand and she puts this hand to my hip, and if she has that gait belt on, she can put it over here and she walks sort of sideways. Turn your body this way. There you go. Good. Good. You got it. She can actually direct my movement, and if I start to go, she can stop the fall because her position is such that she has stability. If she's walking alongside me like this, and she has me like this, what's going to end up happening? I'm going to fall and she's going to tear something because I'm going to go over and she's going to try to stop the fall. It's an automatic behavior on her part. She's trying to help me, but it's actually high risk. If we're like this and like this, she can actually say, hey, Teepa.
Hey, Teepa.
Huh? Hey, baby. You're a pretty thing. Yeah, you go on. Where we going? Take this hand and point where you want me to go.
Over here.
Over there? Okay. He's pretty smile. There you go, over here, right here. That's pretty. That's really nice. I like that. They got the thing here, got that ear. They got the ear diamond. Yeah. I like your booby. Now has my eye gone to her chest? Yeah, it's gone to her chest because she's out in front of me a little bit. If she'd shift her weight back about right there, oh, guess what? She's out of my visual field. She's right there. Her hand is out here. She's got me leading with the hand, but she can guide and direct, and she's got herself out of my field. I'm not looking at her anymore because she's not there for me to look at. She comes forward like she was. Come on forward again. Now you're trying.
I don't want to.
You don't want to, I know. But you get about right there and you say something, I'm going to turn and look. And then I'm going to touch. And then you're going to say she needs drugs. And what I'm going to tell her, she doesn't need drugs. What she needs is you to step back a little bit and then use that hand to direct my vision, give me something to look at. Substitute, not subtract. Substitute. Use your hand, because when you put that hand out there, go ahead and point. What happens to the boobs? Do it again. Where's the boobs? They're gone. They're gone. I've lost the boobs. The boobs are gone. Put them out there again. There it is. And what I'm doing is tracking along that line that you want me to follow. Oh, we're going to go that way? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Let's go. Look at that. They got that hole in the hood. Look at that. Yeah, you gotta go ahead. Come on, you gotta come over here. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Now, what does she need to say right now? Pump on the hand, pump on the hand and say, hey, Teepa.
Hey, Teepa.
Huh? Oh, they go that way? Good job. Okay. What I'm going to tell you is you often make this a lot more difficult than it needs to be because you're thinking they have more with it than they do, and then you turn around on the other hand and ask more than they can deliver. You can't seem to find the happy medium of making it okay but not overdoing it. Now with the vision, I want to go one step further before we take this break, which everybody's desperately needing because most of you drank something before you got here. I can tell, and although y'all planned for 2:40, it needs to be about in a minute because the more I talk about it, the worse it's going to get. Let me tell you why it's going to get worse, okay? So let me do the vision, then I'm going to tell you why it's going to get worse. Not with that you all care anymore because right now the last thing you're thinking about is vision. You've got to pee. And see, what I did is just called attention to it. We'll come back to it. This is where we are in mid-dementia, binoculars. What happens is the disease gets worse. More and more of my brain is dying. As more and more of my brain dies, two other things are going to happen. What starts to happen is I can't identify objects the way you identify objects. In order to identify an object, I've got to look at an object, I've got to find the memory of the object, and then I've got to identify the purpose of the object. That's a lot of wiring, and I'm losing my wiring. So I could find an object. Okay. Why? Because they're similar and my damage is so severe, I don't recognize the difference. I could pick up a fork at a tabletop. Now, anybody who was at a tabletop and you saw something with prongs on it, your first thought would probably be fork. Not me. I don't get the big picture. And so I see the thing and I see the pointy things on it and I go, oh. You see me doing that and your first thought is, what are you doing? And you even might say, what are you doing? Teepa, what are you doing? No, 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 no. Forget the no, 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 no. And you want to say, Teepa, you're combing your hair. Okay, well, tell you what, let me give you something else. Come here, come on, let's try something else. Don't make it sound like I'm a bad girl. You've got to quit the thing with the voice. That thing with the voice causes me to react. Do y'all remember when your mom did, How many of you want to say, bullshit, bullshit? Tell me what to do. How many of you, by the time you were teenagers, were doing, don't tell me what to do? Early dementia, teenagers, very similar. You're going to find a lot of similarities there. You want to be real careful about what you tell them not to do. Don't you tell me what to do. I'll tell you, I'll put you in your hole. I brought you in this world. I'll take your sorry little ass right back out. Do you hear me? You got snot coming out your nose, too. Yeah, look, I'll pick it for you. What does she have on her nose?
Nose ring.
Little nose ring. Yeah, I noticed it. I'm going to pull it out. Now, if she's going to work with me and this happens on day 1 or day 2, what does she need to decide to do take it out while she's with me? Because once I start noticing it, you have to be on high alert all the time because you never know when it's going to come to me to fix it. You know, that's good. Oh, look what she did. She's really learning. She's doing really well instead of fussing.
Fast.
Huh? Yeah, I am. When you're early dementia, you are fast. Yeah, it doesn't happen. Late dementia, they slow down. Early dementia, they're still pretty quick. They can knock you flat on your butt. You're like, whoa, what happened? The other thing I want to point out, though, is what if you have deodorant in the bathroom? Take the lid off. Ice cream. Okay? And I don't know the difference between butt balm and toothpaste. Okay? So what does this mean for you? It means you need to start organizing things for me so you only have out what's okay for me to have at that moment. If I see it, I'm going to want to do something with it, and it doesn't always make sense to you, but it's always making sense to me in a damaged brain. The last part about vision I want to go over before we take the break is that things get worse. Seems like that was bad enough. We shouldn't have to get worse, but we do. The disease gets worse, and by late in the disease, normally we take an image in through each eye. And we take an image in through each eye. These two images get integrated in your brain, and they actually superimpose one on the other so you can see in 3D. You see in 3D. You can judge depth and distance because both your eyes are seeing things. So you can tell whether something's closer, about how far away it is, how far you're going to have to reach to touch it. When this disease gets really bad, the brain goes, I can't do that anymore. That's too complicated. I can't organize these two images so they line up. So what you're either going to have is double vision, or and has anybody ever been drunk enough or sick enough to have double vision? Is it a pleasant experience? Would you want to live the rest of your life with double vision? No. And so the brain is preserving itself. And so what it says is, ignore one eye. Just ignore it. Don't pay any attention. So you become functionally blind in one eye, and you only use the data incoming from one eye in order to run your life. Now, this is the warning. Close one eye and put your hand around the other. Take the index finger of the hand you are not using around your eye. And I want you to look at that index finger. Keep it in your focus, and now reach out in front of you to the chair back in front of you and try to judge the distance to when you're exactly going to touch that chair back or an object out in front of you. And realize you've lost all depth perception. Now, here's where it really gets bad. I want everybody to carefully stand up and turn sideways. So everybody face this wall over here. Put your monocle on. So this is called Binocular Vision. Put your monocle on. And what I want you to do, look at your index finger in front of your eyeball. Keep looking at your index finger and very slowly lean forward, bend over, and slowly, slowly reach down and try to judge the distance to the floor. And what I want you to do is pay attention to what your legs and feet are doing to compensate the whole way down. What are you noticing? The floor's a lot further than you thought it was. Now, have a seat for the last time before you get your break. Now, what I want you to realize is you lose depth perception. And what everyone in this room with normal abilities was able to do is compensate. The whole way down, your feet were going, whoa, whoa, hang on, hang on. Ooh, further than I thought. Okay, hang on, hang on. The reason that's happening is there are messages going from your feet to your brain and your brain to your feet, and your feet to your brain and your brain to your feet that say, whoa, upright. Be careful. That's where gravity is. Guess what? Because of the brain failure, they can't do that. That's the difference between processing an auditory cue when you have to pee. That's what y'all did. You had an auditory cue. To you, it meant pee, pee, pee. I get to go pee. I get to go pee. I get to go pee. Your brain is all about peeing right now. And the reason that's happening is there's an arc that goes from your bladder to your spine. And right now, it's real busy. It's saying, it's full, let's empty it. It's full, let's empty it. And the brain is sending, and you also send a message up to your brain that says, no, not here, not now. You have to wait till you get to the bathroom. Don't leave the group. People will notice. Hang on, just a second. But this is getting to be a problem because this is getting real insistent. And so this part is going, oh, what the heck? Come on, let's leave. And people are now saying, I don't care whether she talks or not. I've got to go pee. Because what's happened is I've called it into the brain. And I've got you paying attention to it. When we come back, we'll finish up the vision because you all got to go pee. Let's take a break.